So this Reddit post says the game needs new players, and this is a topic I talk about all the time, especially on stream as well. Like, this comes up a lot, and I am very much into the idea of having newer players join RuneScape. I think this should be like one of the biggest focuses of Jagex right now, trying to get new players into the game, but it doesn't really seem like it is. So I thought this could be an interesting post. I haven't fully read through it myself yet. I just opened this up. I actually opened this in the tab when it was posted like 6 days ago, rip, but I've only just managed to get time to it now in between moving house and whatnot. But we're gonna take a look at this. I'll probably put some PVM background footage or whatever, and the rest you can probably just minimize this video if you want to and listen to it. But anyway, so this says game needs new players. Just walking around some of the cities you gain quick access to in the game, it's wild to me how few low levels I see. Instead it seems at least every other player is maxed. This is very true, absolutely. I think it's if you right click people in game, maybe not maxed anymore because of necromancy, but close to it. Like, people are going to be like level 120 plus, and then you check their stats and they're closing in on loads of 99s and stuff like that. But it's also important to realize that you do level up pretty damn quickly in this game, and if you're checking places like Walls Retreat, then there's also restrictions to get into there too, and people wouldn't really go there unless there's a reason to, and like, you know, so at the same time, I think you would have to go to like Berthorpe, you would have to go to like I guess Varrock, would you still check, Lumbridge, all these sort of places and see there. But I still agree with this. I think this is very true. It seems this game is maintaining die-hard fans but hemorrhaging casual players. I think this has been known knowledge for a while. As someone returning after over a decade, there is so much content bloat to this game. I only barely feel like I can manage through a ton of the now worthless content because I have some historical context. I think this is probably true, but do you have to engage with, I wish I could start this game over again as a brand new player and have no sense of what's going on. Like, I could make a new account and go through it, but because I have played the game for so long, it wouldn't be the same experience. Maybe we need to get someone to play the game as a new player and like commit to it for maybe like 20 hours and see how far they get. Let's see, and then get the issue, like an interview at the end for their issues. If you guys are interested in that, let me know and I'll see if I can find somebody to do that for me, but we'll see. But I agree, there's so much bloat to the game, and there's got to be some stuff that doesn't get interacted with at all that you can just remove. Because even if it's in the game and it doesn't get much interaction, if a new player stumbles across it, it's still something else to pull them to the side and go, frick, what do I have to do this? Is this the thing I need to do? Then they spend 20 minutes engaging with the minigame, just to realize that they can't actually play it because there's not enough players that are engaging with it, and so it's dead content. It doesn't look really good. I don't know, I feel like there could be a lot of stuff that gets removed to make the game feel a little bit more trimmed and fresh and easy to follow for newer players. It says, it says game needs a trim. Remove dead content and think through a reasonable introduction to the game for noobs. Focus development around cleaning up and making sense of this mess, so no one is going to pick this game up. This game will not sustain itself with a small player base of diehards. It needs a new player interest and engagement. So I genuinely do think that RuneScape is not going anywhere anytime soon. I think the funding of the game is fine right now. I think, in fact, they're having like increased in profits each year, right? And they are getting some new players. Like, don't get me wrong, as a content creator, I still make content for the lower level or the new level players. If that's not obvious, most of my stuff is like tips and tricks and guides and like stuff that help players get into the game more. So the audience is there, and the majority of players aren't actually the highest level players in the game. Like, it's true. It is true. The majority of players aren't max players. It seems like it, but they're not. So there is the mid-level audience and the mid to end game level audience, but I do think that they do need to rework the like early game experience to RuneScape a lot. I think the new player experience is terrible. I saw the Lazy Peons video when he did it again. He went through the new player experience and had a look just after Necromancy. It doesn't even like take you to start with Necromancy. When Necromancy came into the game, they should have reworked the whole beginning of the game to make you start with that at least a little bit. Like, it doesn't even introduce it to you unless you stumble past Walls Retreat or the Death's area by Drainer Village, right? And then it'll give you little yellow dots. And then if you stray too far from that, the dots will go away, and that's it. That's Necromancy. So I feel like it's definitely something that they should put into it more, especially since it was designed for players to understand combat more. But let's see what people in the comments are saying here. It says the most important thing to change is the default UI. This drives new players away more than anything else. This is huge, absolutely. The UI is hell of confusing, and I think the default one has been updated recently, I do believe. Not recently, but like, I don't think it's insanely bad anymore. It isn't top though, because I did make I did take a clip for a beginning, like when you start a new character, and it doesn't show everything that you need, even like as bad as that sounds, because it's already kind of cluttered. It doesn't show, for example, your revolution bar. It'll show some abilities and your character will start using abilities. There was one point when I literally thought to myself, wait, my character's using abilities because I know the animations. I know that he just used Slaughter. I know that he just used Sever. I know the animations, but they're not on screen anywhere. It's just doing it without me even seeing them. So you can minimize your action bar, and you can minimize that little window that shows this, and that was minimized. And I only knew that because I'd played the game for ages. As a newer player looking at that, you'd be like, okay, so what the frick's going on in this combat? Do I not press any abilities? I thought this game had abilities. So yeah, the beginner UI definitely does need a lot of work. The UI is confusing as hell for this game. So it should have like a guide to it. It should have something that, it should make you set up the base UI. Honestly, it really should. If it takes an extra 3 to 5 minutes out of a new player's time explaining how UI works, it should just make you drag and drop the initial few things that you need for UI, even if it's just like dragging in your action bar, dragging in like your inventory window, just stuff like that. And then from there, it'll say you can now go through these other menus and customize this as you please. And that's it. That's all it would need to do, just to explain to people how it works and show them how to lock and unlock the interface and move it around and stuff like that. It would make it a lot easier and way more like thingy to understand. But let's see what else we've got here. RuneScape has the most unnecessary complex UI. Yep. And let's see. I recently started playing again on my phone and love it. When I first started back in 2007, it was so popular because it was a poor kid game. I didn't have any money for an Xbox, but we had a computer, and it was fully browser-based back then. So basically, an internet and computer combo could run it. Even my friends with less than me would play it in the library, which was pretty awesome. I think it's gotten away from that too much with purchases and so many other app options these days, and having a hard time finding people that aren't playing for nostalgic reasons. Okay, I mean, I think a lot of this makes a lot of sense, to be honest. I do. I think that access to the game is important. There is a pretty high sub. And when you log in, a new player logging into the game looks at the sub and goes, okay, I gotta pay a sub for membership, or I stay on free to play and they push me to membership every 2 minutes. And then there's keys advertised to me, and then there's many ways to spend money. So that could definitely put a lot of people off. 100%. But the problem with this these days is if one person spends $2,000 on the game, which isn't unrealistic, there are definitely players that do this. They can turn away 100 players and keep like 1, 2, maybe 3 people that are big spenders on the game, and they don't care. Like, that's fine. As long as the money's coming in, the player count doesn't matter as much as the income, right? At the end of the day, the revenue is the big goal. And a lot of people say, yeah, but the player count will increase the revenue. And this is true, but if you're getting one person that can fund 50 people, then you can turn away 50 people and keep that one person. And that's kind of like the whole thing with the MTX, unfortunately. I think that what needs to happen in the game is, personally, I think the tutorial to the game needs reworking. Not the actual base tutorial, but the bit when you get dropped into the actual game. I think it needs to include more things in terms of like, it should hold your hand for a little bit longer. Not necessarily like hold your hand forever. The game is the part of the magic of RuneScape is that lets go of your hand early on and says go do what you want. But I think it should introduce you to different aspects of the game a little bit more, and there should be more engaging different play styles as you level up as well. So for example, if you want someone who wants to work towards PVM, then there should be like some low level bosses, not just quest bosses, but low level ones that you'll engage with along the way too. But the game will direct you towards them every now and again as well to work on stuff. I think that there could be a lot of stuff done for the new players, and I think it's a little sad to see that like it does kind of get left. Now, as a content creator, I also want to see big content releases to the game so I can cover it and be like, yeah, like Vorkath, for example. Now, we won't talk about the rewards and whether Warcraft's dead content now or not, but on release, everyone was hyped for Warcraft. It was a big thing, but it is for end game players. It is a hard boss. It's not for beginners, and it's definitely not to bring new players into the game. Big releases like this can bring new players into the game or bring returning players back to the game, but I think it's mostly designed around keeping the current player base happy and maybe bringing in returning players, right? So the beginning of the game definitely does need some work towards like beginners and stuff. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. I'm interested in hearing what you guys are thinking on this. Obviously this was just like a ranty video, but what would your solution be if you could be in charge of Jagex for a day? What would you change? I would definitely focus pretty much everything on the newer player experience. And honestly, as a high level player, if there was no end game content updates for 6 months, but they reworked the beginning of the game to try and get new players in, I'd be all for it, to be fair. I mean, we go nearly that anyway, right? But anyway, hope you enjoyed. If you did, leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and I'll catch you on the next one. See you later, guys. Bye.